and welcome back to Bookish Theories. In today's video I would like to talk about Jin's Moon, focusing on a little breakdown and analysis of the lyrics, Jin's performance at the Map of the Soul 1 concert, and its connections to the Map of the Soul concept. Moon is a song co-written by Jin and RM that deals with the themes of love, comfort and belonging. Now, as Jin himself has pointed out on multiple occasions, this is a track that first and foremost is meant to express his love and admiration towards ARMY. And in the lyrics, this message is conveyed with a metaphor that places Jin in the role of the moon as he orbits around ARMY, who play the role of his Earth. Now, right off the bat, this imagery is very telling, because even if Jin is the protagonist of the song, we can say that you are the main character in his life. You see, the entire concept of the song here heavily relies on the idea that Jin and BTS's entire existence revolves around you, because even if they are the ones being admired by the masses, you are the planet that they orbit around, as well as the only reason that they exist in the first place. You see, in many respects, Moon is a very simple song with a very simple message. Much like Microcosmos, Home, and We Are Bulletproof the Eternal, for instance, this is a track that is meant to show you how essential you are in defining their identity and in giving meaning to their craft. But in Moon, Jin also added a little part of himself in the lyrics, because even if his message is coherent with BTS's message as a whole, the imagery that Jin uses in the song seems quite personal as well. Much like the moon, for instance, Jin is always praised for his beauty and his brightness. People look up to him and love him very much. But as the lyrics tell us, you are the one deserving praise, because if the moon's oceans are dark, the earth is where the flowers bloom and the sky is blue. It's your star that makes him shine, and it's your love that gave him his name. So even if you look up to him, Jin wants to let you know that everything that you admire about him is only a reflection of what you gave him. Without the Earth, the moon would just be a rock in the sky. Without the sun, it wouldn't be able to shine as bright. But without ARMY, Jin wouldn't be the person that he is today. So this song is a little homage to this love, as well as his own way to say thank you for basically existing. Now, the theme of gratitude here is actually an essential aspect of the song as a whole, because if on the one hand the lyrics focus on the idea that you are the one who gave him the reason to shine as bright as he does, on the other the song also talks about his intention of giving back. Just like you stood by him in the dark nights and in the dark days, Jin wants to be by your side when you're sad and when you're sick. He wants to give you comfort when you look at him, and he wants to make your night a bit brighter by shining on you. And this idea is perfectly conveyed in his Map of the Soul 1 performance, when Jin actually plays the role of the little prince standing alone on his little asteroid. Now, even if Moon is an amazing song in and of itself, I think that including the little prince in this concept makes it even more touching, and this is because, in many respects, the story of the little prince has a lot in common with BTS's journey as a whole. Just like BTS left their normal life on June the 12th to begin their artistic journey the next day, the little prince left his beloved Rose on asteroid B612 to go on a journey around the universe that after many troubles eventually led him to Earth. Much like what happened to BTS, however, the adventure of the little prince has a very difficult start, because when he arrives on Earth, he first lands on the desert, which is also a place that BTS often used to symbolize their hardships at the beginning of their journey. In both cases, however, the situation improves when they meet a true friend, and if for the little prince this friend is an aviator who is just as lost as he is, for BTS this friend is none other than ARMY. Now, right off the bat, this comparison is very touching, because the friendship between the little prince and the aviator is possibly one of the most wholesome relationships ever portrayed in literature. You see, in the story, the little prince is an alien that doesn't belong anywhere. He's lonely and wise, but he's also a child with no experience, so like BTS, the little prince is very curious about the aviator and wants to know everything about his life on Earth. Just like ARMY, however, the aviator is fascinated by the little prince. He thinks he's special, endearing, and even a bit magical, if you will, and thanks to his wisdom, he learns things about himself that he never knew before. When they are together, the little prince and the aviator learn about love, about friendship, about trust, and about life. And their relationship is so strong that when the little prince leaves to go back to his Rose, their friendship is able to live on forever. Now, this is when Moon comes into play, because one aspect that the song has in common with the little prince is the distance that keeps the two friends separated from each other. Much like the Little Prince and the Aviator and the Moon and the Earth, Jin and Army are distant from one another, but this distance doesn't affect the feelings that you have for each other. It doesn't change the love that you share, and it doesn't erase the things that you learned, and this is because what is essential is invisible to the eye and can only be seen with your heart. You see, one thing that the Little Prince learns in his journey is that love can actually grow stronger with distance. When the Little Prince lived on his asteroid, for instance, he and his Rose loved each other very much, but they didn't understand how important they were to one another until the Little Prince left for his journey. Distance, however, made their love grow stronger, so when the Little Prince leaves the Aviator, he knows that their friendship will not be affected by it because their love is actually able to transcend time and space. Even if the Aviator is crushed by the idea of losing his Little Prince, the child tells him not to worry about it, because every time that he will look up at the stars, the Aviator will know that he will live on one of them and there he will be laughing. Since the Aviator won't know which star he lives on, however, he will be the only person to have stars that can laugh, and this will comfort him because their friendship actually gave him something that nobody else can possibly have. The Little Prince may not be physically there for the Aviator, but he will always be there nonetheless, and this is exactly the message that Jin wants to deliver with Moon. Even if he's far away, even if you see him shine alone in the darkness, his light is the result of what you gave him, and his brightness is there to comfort you in the night of your life. So every time that you need him, he will always be there for you, because the distance that keeps you apart cannot erase the connection that you share. Now, when it comes to the map of the soul concept, we can say that Moon is the perfect song for Jin, not only because it expresses his feelings towards Army, but also because, according to Carl Jung, the moon is a symbol that can also represent our consciousness as a whole. Much like the psyche, the moon has a bright side that we know, but also a dark side that we are completely unaware of, so even if the song is very personal, the imagery of the lyrics not only fits the concept of the album, but also the inner journey that this concept implies. Much like the moon, Jin has two sides of him, one that we know and another one that we'll never get to see, where he hides all the pain and the suffering that he experienced, but an important part of this journey is to come to terms with this dark side and accept it as part of ourselves. And in this regard, we can say that Jin is doing a pretty good job. You see, even if the song heavily focuses on the bright side of the moon, the lyrics also take their time to acknowledge the dark side as well. And in doing so, the song actually draws an interesting connection between pain and the desire to improve the pain of others. Since Moon is placed in the final stage of the map of the soul, this is a song that follows the first death of the artist as well as their rebirth through pain. So his resolution to shine brighter to comfort other people can be seen as his own way to turn his negative experience into a positive one by actually helping those who struggled the same way that he did. If you look closely, the line in which he acknowledges his pain is immediately followed by his desire to be there for you and be your light. So in a way, we can say that acknowledging his dark side is what pushes him to help people and become the best version of himself possible. And this is important because this is exactly what the map of the soul journey is all about. So that's it from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please think about liking and subscribing. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.